it's a whole can of worms, because when you guys are telling me something, I'm going to look it up. Okay,
Well, yeah, yeah.
and I got to tell you, some of the questions that we got this week are brilliant.
Yes.
Um, because I'm looking into the Treaty of Paris. I'm looking into the other things, and things that were happening at the foundation of our country is completely different than what was actually happening. Completely different. I want to reintroduce, this is the third in our series of looking at the status of your political status and how to change it and what advantages you have. It's really to get back our freedoms. Now, joining us, these are people a hell of a lot smarter than I am in this. Diane Kazer, she is a pro soccer player turned functional diagnostic nutritional practice. Courage coach. And I'm telling you, courage coach. This gal's got it. Holistic beauty expert, co-founder of the Truth Tribe, and author of Killer Breast. Step by step on a book, Overcoming Breast Implant Illness, which I got a patient today had the same thing. I'm going to suggest your book to her. And she's a member of the American State Nationals Assembly of Arizona, and is leading the way for others to seek out their personal power through speaking the inner truth. And we're also joined by Dennis Knill, a previous sheriff of Ohio, served 6 years before running for president back in 2012. He currently serves as Justice of the State, Sheriffs of Yavapai County in Arizona, State Chairman. Was I close that time?
You were close. It's Yavapai.
Yavapai. Okay.
Yep. But yeah, there you go.
He's also the recorder and coordinator for the Arizona Assembly, leading the way for others to reclaim their sovereignty. Welcome back, and thank you. Okay.
Great to be here. Thank you.
It's the stuff that we were talking about last week, and the week before. I've done a lot of research into the Treaty of Paris of 1783, and a number of things. Now, the first point for discussion is: can you further explain the details of the Pope's involvement and the Queen?
Sure. The Pope and the Queen basically own everything. I should say the Pope does. The Queen works for him. However, he is American National's subcontractor for the municipal government, but he's not doing his job because the municipal government went bankrupt on November 5th, 2 days after the general election in the United States. So whoever won the presidency on November 3rd was president of the United States, Inc. for 2 days, because it's a municipal government, and that is in charge by the Pope. He runs the municipal government. He's the people's subcontractor. He's supposed to make sure all these different things are running correctly, and he is not, as you can tell by the mess that we're in now.
Okay. Now, when you make a statement like that, I'm writing down notes and I'm going to go look it up.
Oh yeah.
Like once I was in the Treaty of Paris, 1783.
Mhm.
It literally does say that the King George, okay, is the King of Great Britain, Britain and France, Prince of the Holy Roman Empire,
Yeah.
and Prince of the United States.
Yeah.
That blew my mind, that he was Prince of the Holy Roman Empire. Now, how did the Pope get involved? Was it with treaties before that, or what? Because the Pope was involved in the municipal government, but is the Pope involved in every government, every municipal government?
Everyone worldwide. That's why it's such a disaster going on globally now. What's happening here is happening all over the globe, in every country, because he owns all of those. This started thousands of years ago. Okay, if you tune into Anna Von Wrights on her Monday night webinar, she goes into history. I'll tell you, that woman has a mind. It's unbelievable. She can tell you the treaties, which one, which date, who's involved, and the whole thing. But yeah, this has been going on for a long time, and the Roman Empire is still active today. That's what's going on here. They're trying to make it a one world order.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Um, it- what is the Confederation of States and the Federal Republic?
Okay. The Federal Republic is we the people at the federal level. The federal government is the subcontractors of we the people. Now, the Federal Republic and the federal government are two different things. The Federal Republic is the Republic of the United States of America, unincorporated. And that is the law of the land. See, the people make up the counties, the people make up the states make up the confederation. So the confederation is the what is now the de facto state of state, like state of Hawaii or state of that, all of those subcontractors that run different businesses to give us services and so on. That's what the confederation is supposed to be. That's where we're heading next. We're getting the counties populated, the states populated. Then we have to get our state of state populated, which is the Confederated States. It's more like the business section for us, so we don't have to constantly be working every day. I'm sorry for the background noise.
It's okay.
So anyway, um, so we have to get those up and running, and the federation is what takes care of all of the people through the United States of America, unincorporated.
Wow. Okay.
Okay.
Now,
Yeah.
when when I was, because you folks were making statements that there was a difference between a state citizen or U.S. state citizen and an American citizen.
Yes.
Getting into this, there are multiple court cases that prove that, and
Oh
I'm
yeah.
talking from the 1800s up through now. And and there's this one, and I got to bring this up. This was Scherer versus Cullen. For a crime to exist, there must be an injured party. There can be no sanction or penalty imposed on one because of the exercise of constitutional rights. That's goosebumps. It's like freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, freedom of everything. You cannot, that is not a crime. You can't arrest me for that.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Oh
I,
yeah.
I mean, Diane, when you actually were driving along and a cop stopped you, okay, obviously you're a courage coach. Okay, if I see red lights in my rearview mirror, I panic. Okay,
Yep.
you did you want to show him your regular driver's license instead of the state ID? I mean, what?
Yeah, it's this is beyond for me anyway, and everybody sees things logically, sequentially, intellectually, and we're all taught to look at things merely from the brain. But there's a spiritual component to this as well that I look at and take this for out how filter this through whatever parts of you that come up first. Me as a woman, I go off of my intuition and emotions more than I do intellect and logic. And I was on my way, the weekend before this happened, I was on one of my holistic health coaching calls, which is to inspire more courage. So that's how I became a courage coach, is by separating my fears from my faith. And on the way there, they said, what is it that you'd like to call into your life to use drama to find freedom? And I was driving to Orange County in that moment from Arizona, from Sedona. And my answer was, I would like to get pulled over by a cop to really truly challenge how free I think I am. And I was like, well, we'll see what happens with that one. And then went to Mexico for treatments after, your clinic. And then was driving back from Mexico a week later, and I got pulled over by a cop. And I'm not kidding, Dr. B. I had no heart rate, heart pressure, anything, nothing rose. I just pulled over. and I was listening to a video about, the jabs and what's happening with spreading and things. And he pulled me over and he's like, did you know I pulled you over? And I was like, no, I was just listening to a podcast. Truly, that was my answer. That was it. And we had a human conversation and I handed him my information and I said, these are my old plates. That I told that story on the first or second podcast episode. Yep. I can't remember. And he said, well, I'll be right back. And I was surprised at how unresponsive to how not stressed out that I was. So I got my answer. I called that in. And when he pulled me over, I truly just felt like, no, I got this. I'm free. And I got to test in that moment how free I truly felt that I was, and how it wasn't just a card. It wasn't just papers I was filing. It wasn't just a license plate. I really do feel free.
Wow. Oh my God. Because that honestly is one of the challenges that people, because I know you've shared this with everybody. I'm sharing it with everybody. And they're saying, well, they're going to arrest you for this. I heard about a guy that arrested somebody. I heard about a person that did this. And so fear is stopping people from doing any actions to get their freedoms back. So this is that slavery aspect. I mean, when you talk about the Pope's involvement in this, all of a sudden, I think, well, no, because there's like a bunch of different religious faiths. But when you talk about the Holy Roman Empire, and I'm seeing it in paperwork, okay, that is literally still part of our country. But before the next meeting, I'm going to be looking that up to see the link, because I'm seeing the link of everything that this is legit. But people they're going to be stopped because, well, I still need to do this. It's too complicated. It's not my field or anything else. But now that our rights are being taken away, you have no rights. You do not have the freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, the rights guaranteed by your Constitution, unless you change your political status. Bottom friggin' line. And then you are a slave. You are a non-person. You are not a living person. Okay, you are designated as a U.S. citizen, which is part of a corporation. Fact. Okay.
Correct.
And you can change your status to an American citizen by doing paperwork. And you got to it's not mountains of paperwork. In fact, this is the mountain of paperwork that was required. And this is like everything. Okay. And that's every notarized document. It's simple. And then you get to live the way that you were thought to live, you have rights that can't be separated from you.
Exactly.
This will give goosebumps.
Oh yeah. And the faster this happens, the more people that get involved, the more people that correct their political status. It will happen for everyone in this country and globally. So, I mean, like I said before, they're having the same situations globally, but the faster people get on board, start reading, start looking, change your political status, the freedoms will come a lot faster, a lot faster.
Yeah. How many people in the U.S. are that identify as American citizens have done this?
I honestly don't know, but they're saying 30 million plus, and I believe that's worldwide. But it's growing by leaps and bounds. Everybody, with these podcasts and other podcasts, and everybody putting on meetings and so on, and a lot of these patriot groups are, learning the different things now. It's growing by leaps and bounds. We're recording, I mean, right here in Arizona, probably 100 people or more a month.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And growing.
Yeah. And we're going to start having meetings here. I'm going to contact the California coordinator. Okay. I got a couple of other questions. Like, what is a living law firm, and what's the future of the Assembly's court system?
Okay. The Assembly's court systems are up and running. All right. We need more personnel to fill some of the positions like clerks and bailiffs and, deputies and sheriffs and stuff like that. So in some states are active. Here in Arizona, they are. In California, they're on the verge. I know Florida has their courts up, and Texas and a couple other states. But the living law firm is Anna's own law team. that they double, triple, and quadruple check every word that goes into the documents. Check to make sure this is correct, that's correct, the history behind it before it's put on paper, before we even fill out a form. It's all lawfully correct. And that's who the living law firm is. Now, there are also two other constitutional law firms throughout the country. One's the Kirkland Law Group and one's the Constitutional Law Group. And we give those numbers out to anybody, that gets pulled over or has a situation arise, with the de facto. And they contact them and they take care of it, whether they're going to court or in jail or whatever happens to be. And they have, Kirkland Law Group, I believe, started with 3 or 4 family members. They're now up over 40 lawyers and building. So that's how much and more bar attorneys that are, tearing up their bar cards and joining us. They're definitely going to have the work because the de factos really trying to hang on to whatever they can because they've been riding the gravy train for so long and ripping people off. And now their heads and their backs are up against the wall because they know we're coming and we're lawful and they're just a corporation.
And that goes on that fear aspect.
Absolutely.
Because, and that's one of the things that people are really concerned about. Well, do I have to pay an attorney to go through this? And generally not, because all of this stuff, a lot of the work's already been done.
Yes.
And it's really dealing with, I've seen so many of the research I've done just the last week and a half, where it's cease and desist letters that you just throw away, that they don't have rights. It's like the bum in front of the gas station telling you got to wear this mask. Well, you don't have authority over me. Okay.
Exactly. Yep.
Can I buy you a sandwich and a water?
Right.
That's how I want to pay taxes. I want to help people.
There you go. Yep.
But
Perfect.
You don't have authority over me to tell me to run my business. So if somebody comes in and they say, look, we have a health emergency, we've got to shut you down, I can say, you can't do that because of my constitutional rights. And I am super friggin' confident of that now.
Absolutely. Yeah, that is absolute.
And that's happened in courts too. You could see the videos out there. There was a woman whose restaurant was shut down. And one of the law firms that Dennis just mentioned went to bat for her at in their court system, right? The civil law system. And she was set free because of his work as a constitutional representative. We can't say lawyer based on their terminology because, well, did you pass the bar? No, I did not pass the bar. Well, then you're not a real attorney. So you're going to see a lot. You guys out there, it's just like gossip. You're going to hear fake news. You're going to hear, what is news anymore? I always say anything's a half truth at best, right? Yeah. So you're going to see a lot of people saying, well, my friend, just like earlier, Dr. B had mentioned. So if you lean on the side of fear, you're going to see that latch onto it and dismiss this entire presentation and all of our series. If you latch on to your ability to be sovereign and pull the plug on this matrix that we're in, where it's run by a bunch of sociopaths, then you're going to be curious about it, which is the first C of my courage acronym, is curiosity, is really getting curious about all of this and what it means. And just because someone telephone says it doesn't necessarily make it right. Ask for the proof, keep digging for the evidence, connect with people who are doing the real work rather than just gossiping, because those are people who are just going to derail you. And they're going to call you selfish for being courageous to stand up for yourself. And I think the majority of people who are here right now know exactly what I mean by that. How dare you stand up for yourself? How dare you not obey? How dare you not be a law-abiding citizen? Well, it takes courage to say, you know what, I actually am not owned by this de facto government. So it's going to take as much courage and desire to learn the lingo as it's going to take to sign your paper and put your red thumbprint down declaring your sovereignty.
Wow.
Yep.
And when you say this is run by psychopaths,
sociopaths,
okay. So I'm looking at that they're passing laws now without parental permission. A teen or preteen can get chemical castration or get depending on who they're identifying gender wise. I was hanging out with this dad and this brilliant 11-year-old, and they have a kid in their classroom that identifies as a dog. That's her pronoun. She wore a collar. And I said, well, what are the kids in your school saying about this? Oh, no, no one can say anything. They'll get in trouble.
So much for free speech, huh?
Sociopaths.
Yeah.
Okay. If you think that, and that's why this resonates with my soul, that we have rights as a human being. I mean, everybody that's breathing needs those similar rights.
Dr. B,
Yeah.
I identify as a sovereign American.
Yes. Is that your pronoun, miss?
Yes, and if you say it wrong, I'll sue you, and Dan's helped me with the paperwork to show that.
Yeah. Oh, God. And you can't use mother or father anymore. That's nuts.
Yeah, weird.
Okay, now, are we able to change the status for children under 18?
Yes, through the baby deed or the record of life. We have a form that even if they're 20, 30 years old and don't kind of follow this program for some unknown reason, you could claim them because they are your child as a baby deed, on a baby deed, have it recorded, and they're an American national.
Now, I was on the I think the American States Assembly, and they ask what position do you want, or how do you want to contribute, something along those lines, and one of them said peacekeeper,
Right.
and one said investigator,
Okay.
and I'm good with either one of those.
Great. Welcome aboard.
What is, I mean, because I honestly think I've got good unbiased judgment that would be okay to help people resolve issues.
Sure,
I
absolutely.
I don't like the idea that we can't hit people with baseball bats that offend us. But you're right. Violence begets violence. Okay, so I understand.
In self-defense, it's okay.
Now, how do we serve? Because knowing that the state's assembly is just now starting to come out, where we don't really have the political authority according to the entrenched dogmatic system that's illegal.
Yeah.
Okay, because it is.
Yes, it is. Totally.
What are the jobs? Because like when you're signing up, what does a peacekeeper mean? Does that mean that we're part of the militia, that we're part of our defense?
Absolutely. There's three different areas you can do that. The one being a peacekeeper. All right. You can be elected by your county to be the county sheriff. All right. Just like I was here in Yavapai. All right. So as the group is growing, if something happens, they can call me. All right. We do have credentials that are being made, identification cards and badges. We do have our Continental Marshals. Now, you heard of U.S. Marshals.
Yeah.
The U.S. Marshals are on the Admiralty of the Sea. The Continental Marshals are on the land and soil. We just had a whole group of Continental Marshals complete the academy, and there's more going in, and they work nationwide. And the sheriffs, they work in their own counties. All right. So depending on how many counties you have, like here in Arizona, we have 15. So we would have 15 sheriffs, all right, that are on the land and soil. Continental Marshals go nationwide, and the peacekeeping task force.
Sorry.
That's all right.
We're being recorded. That's okay.
It is.
I don't know who that random patient was. Okay, no, that's my wife.
Yeah, whoever.
Yeah, and she's only done that since I'm an American citizen. She would never
Freedom
kiss
of
me as a
speech.
U.S. citizen.
It's a freedom of speech.
Yeah, there you go. Freedom of speech. And the peacekeeping task force is also looking for, and so are the different counties, investigators and so on, for different crimes, and or to assist either the sheriffs in the counties or the Continental Marshals nationwide. So yeah, there's a peacekeeping task force, and their website is admin ops at peacekeepingtaskforce.org. So yeah, they have a website and everything, and they're continually looking for, people to work with the peacekeeping task force, either an investigation or outreach or anything like that, to get the word out to all of the other de facto, government alphabet soup agencies and so on. So, but
I-
yeah,
i-
absolutely.
Is there an I know it sounds crazy because in my world, I love serving. I mean, I'm built as a servant. Is there when you change your status to an American citizen, is there an obligation to serve our communities?
Like Anna says, everyone who becomes an American national, one is a juror, all right, and two is on the militia, because everybody has some type of experience somehow, whether it's putting on bandages, cooking food, putting up tents, getting whatever's needed in an emergency. And yes, most militias are up and running in all of the states.
God, does that make me feel better? I mean, the fact that you're getting these freedoms and privileges and rights that can't be separated, but you got responsibilities on the other hand.
That's what it's all about.
Responsibilities. Good God, I like that.
Yeah.
Dr. B, I'll tell you something that we do here in Sedona as well as in Phoenix, because I've been between both with my partner. Is every Wednesday and every Tuesday here, I'm attending events with constitutionalists to understand our rights, because this is truly learning another language. And the way that we can form as militia is to understand what our rights are and to know the sections and to know how to get help. And truly, I've never felt such a desire to serve in this way. Do I know everything? No, but I've done a lot of research to know that it just doesn't feel right the direction that we're heading. And even educating cops compassionately, because they don't know. I've gone in as a stand and not worn masks to places. And of course, many would call me selfish and insensitive, because we have the P word is happening. But cops were called, and this has happened multiple times. And
Really?
we educate, yeah, and we just educate the cop. They show up. I can tell you right now, it builds your skin very thick, and from an anti-aging perspective, that can help you as well. Because thinning skin is what causes sagging, right? So very thick skin, and actually having relationships with cops, the other side of the militia, that they're understanding what we're trying to do here. We're not just derelicts. We're not just trying to get out of jail free. We're standing up for our rights here, because we're watching people lose their freedom of speech on their social media platforms, lose their practices. Like you said, in California right now, there are doctors that their word isn't even important anymore. They've written medical exemptions for people to not have the jab, and they're on a hit list right now, and it's no longer important. So like I keep saying to people, you've heard us speak about this. If you're not already doing research, it must not be that important to you. How many more rights do you have to see taken away from the people and your own family before you take this very seriously? It is a new language. And it's like we're all in law school and militia school at the same time.
It is totally a new language. So you're in a store, somebody that says that you're not wearing a mask, and you say, yes, here's my state national
Exempt.
citizenship.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And this infringes on my rights and infringes on my health. You don't have the right to say that. So as a business, they can kick you out, but if they're calling the police can't do anything to you. Or
Correct. This has happened multiple times. So I'm working with two constitutionalists right now. In fact, I can even introduce you to one who helps us in Sedona. He's also a doctor. He's been a doctor for 45 years. And he's written medical exemption cards for all of us to not wear masks, because it is an infringement of our health. And 70% of our detox happens through our exhale. So it's like we're basically swallowing our own trash and getting sicker from it. So he's written exemption cards. So I actually pulled that card out, and I say very politely, actually, I'm exempt from wearing a mask. I have a health condition that prevents me, according to the American Disabilities Act, and you're not allowed to impose that on us. Would you be willing to respect this? And if not, then I can take this to another level. And I've had it where people are like, "Oh yeah, I understand," or "Okay, I understand," but it's how you say it. Like I say, I teach my people how to be a boundary badass, not a boundary bitch. Like, you don't have to, if you're triggered, you will not tell me what to, obviously you don't believe that you have power and freedom when you're reacting like that. And I only know that because I used to be that way, right? So it's a conversation. It's more of a conversation. And then the cops get called and we're outside with the cops. And I've had a couple times where cops walk away from me because they know that I'm right, because we're holding up the Constitution. We're holding up, you can't deny somebody coverage. This is called discrimination. If you can't deny somebody coverage unless you own that land and soil. So we're learning not just how to get our card to say I'm free. Sure, that card is nothing unless your cells truly believe that they're free, and you know how to speak logic to these people based on the true code from the 1700s where we were founded with this stuff.
All the data and stuff that I've looked into so far, it's for the people out there that are watching this that are saying it's too good to be true. But think of this: how many people do you know are willing to put forth an effort to get their freedoms? And this makes sense because it's not given, it's fought for. Every founder of our country said that freedom, you have to make the effort. It's not given to you, you have to take it. And this is part of how we get it back. I mean, it's just, I mean, it resonates with my soul, and we are going to get this back now.
Absolutely. And if we wait too much longer, they're still fighting against us, trying to take our freedoms away. And if we don't get off the couch and get out there and talk to our friends, neighbors, relatives, and family members, the freedoms will just keep slipping away. And people will realize as they go here and there, and all of a sudden they can't do that. Or you have to have this kind of ID, or you're not allowed to say that. The freedoms are disappearing faster and faster and faster. So it is time everyone in this country stands up and talks with your neighbors, become an American national. It is nothing but the best for everybody. Nothing is taken away. You still get everything that you've lived with, plus you get to keep your freedoms forever. And we have to do this for us, for our kids and our grandkids. Otherwise, there will not be an America left.
Dennis, I wanted to add to that. The BG, I'm not sure what names I'm allowed to say. Let's just say big guy. The BG guy, it has now recently been stated that he is the world's largest landowner. Where do you think he's getting that money from? If the world is upside down right now, and the Egyptian pyramids, I was in Egypt last August and there was no one there. I was the only one in the pyramids. I was the only one in the temples. I was like, oh, here's how I think of your, what's happening right now in the world. You tell me I can't be free and travel? And they were so happy to see Americans back in Egypt. But the pyramids there have a lot of things etched out. A lot of the things, a lot of the artifacts, a lot of the hieroglyphs on the walls. They were all etched out. I was like, what are all these things that are etched out? You can't see the hieroglyphs anymore. And my tour guide is like, well, when they came over from different parts of the world, they etched out the evidence and all of the sacred acts that they were doing here, and they made it theirs. So in other words, the majority of things that we have been taught, if not everything, has been a lie, a major, major lie. So it really takes the curiosity to ask, what have I been told that's a lie? And the courage to admit that it's okay that you believed a lie, but so too have we all. So we're all together like this. We're all soul family. And right now it is inverted, this upside down pyramid, it's upside down triangle where all of our freedoms and all of our money and and the things that we've been handed down, our rights, are inverted. So it's getting taken from Peter to pay Paul, only we change the names from we the people to BG. There's a reason why these people, of course, are just printing money randomly too. But there's a reason why Dennis says that if you really look up your name, you could actually see that we're worth millions, but yet we are working tirelessly every day just to get by. And if you're a restaurant owner or a gym owner, maybe you're making a third as you did before because you're told that you can't work anymore. They are trying to destroy the small business family owner. And it's just going to get worse if you as a family business owner don't stand up to this stuff. You're going to have to keep fighting every single thing they take away. You're going to have to fight that. And then the next one, and then the next one. It is never ending until we all claim our freedom.
Okay, what does law of the land and we the people really mean? You just mentioned we the people.
Mm-hmm.
What does
Dennis.
law of the land and we the people?
Okay, I'll take that, I guess. We the people. See, the law of the land comes from our being, from, if you want to say God or your creator. It is given to us, each and every one of us that is on this planet. We deserve to live here in peace, harmony, and love, and prosperity and abundance, without wars, without diseases, without anything. And we can have that. But the government has put all of that into action to keep us as slaves. And the amount of money that each and every person is actually worth, are you ready? You are sitting down. Anna was discussing this on her Monday night webinar. Each person is worth about $40 billion.
And that's because we're 330 million Americans.
Well, that's because, yeah, well, that too. And because we've been living in a debt society. Nobody has actually been paid real currency since the beginning of time, since the Federal Reserve came out. It's a debt note. They take your silver and they give you $1 for your dollar of silver. Okay, that dollar bill is worth 4 cents because it's printed. All right, so all that money, they're collecting all our silver, saying we can't have it like they did back in 33, the silver and the gold, but we'll give you dollars straight up for it. So it's a debt. So everybody's been paid in debt. Every time you get a paycheck, that's debt. It's Joe's Hamburger getting $1 for a burger today that he may get for next week. Okay, or gladly pay you Tuesday.
I remember Wimpy.
But it's right. So, but it's a debt society. So everybody has been put on bonds. All right. Your work, everything you do, okay, is accumulated. So every time $1 is traded, that's more debt being added. So nobody has been actually paid currency in their lifetime. So we have those bonds.
Okay.
All right.
I got to tell you, this is okay. We're going to get together again in 2 weeks.
Right.
Okay. In 2
3,
weeks.
I think.
3 weeks. Yeah, 3 weeks. I'm glad somebody was paying attention. Okay. And I cannot thank you enough. I mean, you are saving my patience. I don't like being told that I've got to make them do stuff that I know is against their health, and for something that's not an issue. And thank you for being here. Do you have any final thoughts? Diane, do you have any final words to say? Because you've been so friggin' eloquent today.
Yeah. I mean, it's everybody's time is unique, and you're going to wake up at the perfect time and realize that we've been in the same nightmare together collectively. And for some of you, it's going to shock you so much that you might go back to sleep because it's so hard to believe. And some of you are going to be like, you know what? We're not alone. These people, the reason why we wake up is because we face that there's many people who've been lying to us. That's the reason we wake up. And so you get to decide, and only you get to decide based on your belief system, if you're free, if you're sovereign, or if you're a slave. I'll tell you, when I went through this process, my mom was in the corner like this. Shh. Dennis is on the line. He was helping me. My parents had to sign, as witnesses. My dad's like, hey, what is this all about? I got my guns. Should I bring my gun? And I was like, sure, Dad, bring your gun if it makes you feel better. But my mom was like, I can't believe, because my mom is a fear of the unknown. She might have thought she's losing her daughter, or I'm not obeying and I'm being a bad girl. And it took me courage to not care about what she or anybody else thinks. So it's OPP, other people pleasing. I'm like, this is my life, and you get to decide whether or not you still like me. And that's okay. You may be mad at me for claiming my freedom because you're pissed off that you're not claiming your own. So you're going to trigger people, but eventually they might come around and ask you for support later, and that's okay. So the courage part is a big piece of this. And the second thing I'll say is, you guys, you're asking a lot of great questions on the chats and the bottoms in the YouTube channel. And so I want to direct your attention, and please write this down, get a piece of paper. And I know it's also going to be in the video as well, but if you're hearing this and not looking at the video right now, write this down. Go to sovereignnational.us, Sovereign National, no S at the end, .us. There you could ask us questions and join on Thursday nights at 6 p.m. Pacific time. Well, it's Arizona time, so we always flip-flop, but it says on that website. You could ask us questions for Dennis and myself to cover. And we always have a lot of great questions. People from all around the world can do this. Yes, in Canada, where a lot of you are losing a lot of your rights, definitely in Canada. And then you could also go to Anna's website to join her Monday night calls. If you go to the American States, plural, States, Assembly.net, and you click on webinar, scroll to the bottom, you'll see where you could actually submit a question for Terry to ask Anna for the Monday night call at 6. She's the master at this whole thing. So those are the two best places you can get support. You're asking us three a lot of questions, but those are the best places to get questions directly from us, where we can all learn together. So we're really busy people, and that helps us to help you and help everybody.
Wow. Well said. Dennis, do you have any final thoughts?
Let's get this train moving. We have to have freedom. 4th of July. Let's do it. Exactly.
God bless you.
And Cinco de Mayo.
Right. Include them all.
Yeah.
Oh man, I cannot thank you enough. You guys are literally changing the world and saving lives. Thank you so much. I now feel empowered that no one's going to tell me to not do what I've been doing for so long. That makes a difference. So God bless you both. Thank you so much. And I can hardly wait for our next meeting.
Yeah, me too. Yep.
Take care.
Blessings, Dr.
Sounds good.
If you can hear my voice, you are part of the resistance.